Welcome to my first sit-down video of 2016. This is actually a fun one. I've been asked to be the keynote speaker at a local women in business luncheon, and I thought I would film it so that A, I can practice, and B, for those of you who aren't going to be able to make it to the lunch, you can hear what I have to say. When I was asked to be the keynote speaker, I was also requested to talk about a certain topic, and that is finding success and joy both personally and professionally when going through a tough time privately, and that's definitely something that I can speak about. In case you're new to my channel, my name's Mare. Welcome to our community. I am a morning radio show host, and I've been in the broadcast industry since 2004, and I've been on Sun FM since 2006, doing the morning show since 2007, so getting up very early for a really long time. And then I also have this YouTube channel and my website, redheadmare.com. Those are things that I really enjoy, and those are some of the ways that people have probably heard about me or heard from me, either online or on the radio. I also recently, in November, incorporated my very first business. So now I am a business owner. It's called Redhead Mare Media Inc., and I have been helping local businesses with social media, so Twitter and Facebook and blogs, as well as YouTube. And I find that Facebook particularly can be quite a depressing and daunting place, whether it's personally or if you're trying to have a Facebook page for your own business. And so I've been trying to take the weight off of people that way. And I think that Facebook and social media in general can be pretty depressing and pretty negative because of comparison. Now, I think a lot of people are only posting their best self online. So you're not seeing their down days, you're not seeing their tough times, and then when you compare that to how you're feeling, obviously that can leave you feeling pretty rough. And so I think it's good to remember that not everyone is posting negative things, and if they are, maybe that's a whole other topic we could talk about. People who only post negativity on social media. I rarely post anything negative online. If you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, you'll know that I post a lot of uplifting things, personal things, but a lot of just like more positive stuff. So for me, in November of 2014, when I initially finally went public with a lot of the incredibly difficult things that myself and my family had been going through, a lot of people were taken aback and were very surprised. Even coworkers at Sun FM had no idea what we were going through. Some friends as well really were shocked. And I chose not to speak about it publicly for a very long time because I was dealing with it so fiercely and so privately that I just wasn't able to go there. So today, I'm going to discuss finding joy and success both privately and personally when going through such a tough time. I'm going to talk about things that have worked for me in different aspects of my life, and I hope that even if you can't relate to how vast and how life-changing the things are that I'm going to tell you about that have happened to me, you can relate if you're going through a rough time on no matter what level it is. I hope you get some tips and some tricks, and also just comfort in knowing that you are definitely not alone. We're all going through something no matter on what level, and I hope that some of these ideas will resonate with you, and then you'll be able to use them in your own life. Because as much as I would like it, it's not all just pictures of food and my outfits of the day on Facebook. So a little bit of background for me. I am married and I have a 4.5-year-old son named Thomas. Thomas was born in 2011, and right away in the hospital, he failed his hearing test, which all babies get. And then that was followed by about 6 weeks to 2 months of a lot of different doctor's appointments and hearing tests and checkups and specialists and that sort of thing. And then we were finally told that he was born with a very profound hearing loss. His hearing loss is progressive, so that means that it continues to get worse. When he was 4 months old, he was fitted with his first hearing aids. And those worked for a while, but then his left ear really went down. And so he was approved for, and he had surgery for almost 2 years ago now, a cochlear implant, which is very major surgery. We've been down to Children's Hospital more times than I could count. And so he has that now, and then he also has a hearing aid. So that was in March of 2014. And then after he got his implant, we were expecting progress, and we were expecting, positivity and improvement. And although he could hear better, he definitely was not developing as he should be. And there was always just something missing. It was incredibly frustrating for myself, for my husband, and for Thomas. And Thomas, at that point, basically just shut himself into his own world. We couldn't get him to look at us. We couldn't get him to play with us. Things that he had been saying and doing before, he totally stopped talking. He could barely walk. And so then in August of 2014, we went back down to Children's Hospital, and he was given the diagnosis of being on the autism spectrum. So now he has the dual diagnosis of being deaf and also being autistic. And then a couple months later, he started at OSNS and started in autism therapy. And like I said, lots of my colleagues and friends had no idea that any of this was happening. I was able to still do the show and still show up to work and show up to social situations and just continue as I had always done. Of course, some of our friends did know. And then in November of 2014, Jeremy and I started going to therapy as well, just to get coping mechanisms and to deal with how things were going for us. And then in December, January, so this time last year, my husband basically had a complete breakdown. The therapy wasn't enough, and he couldn't cope, and then he was diagnosed as being having anxiety and having depression. And he went through an incredibly tumultuous time, to a point where I had to call in reinforcements. And my mom flew in from Arizona, and his family came from Vancouver, and it was just a horrific time for our family. He just couldn't deal with anything, and lots of things were setting him off, and it was all new to us. Plus we still had Thomas, plus I was trying to still maintain the family and the home and my job, and just some sort of self as well. So it was incredibly difficult for us. And so last year, a lot of the focus was not only on Thomas and his autism therapy and also his hearing, but then Jeremy and his anxiety and his depression. And so I thought that because of all of those things, I would be a good person to give you some ways in which you can cope if you're going through something similar or different. I know anxiety and depression and mental health is very prevalent. But if it's something that you're dealing with, or anything else that is just rough in your house, life is hard. Hopefully some of these tips will help you. So all of this was going on behind the scenes while my co-host Randy Farmer and I were hosting the #1 morning show, and it's been #1 for years. And I think a lot of you can relate to that behind the scenes feeling, whether you are a stay-at-home mom, you are a woman who has an at-home business, or you're a woman who goes to the office. We all have that behind the scenes aspect. And for me, it's really important to balance how you're feeling and how you're doing, so that you can maintain both your professional life, whether it's an at-home business or in an office. No matter what you're going through, you still have to make decisions, and you still have to, show up, basically, no matter what is going on at home. So I think that even though for me, I'm definitely in the public eye on YouTube, online, on Sun FM, if you're a business owner, whether it's an at-home business or you're a professional woman, you are also in the public eye, and you need to maintain that level of professionalism. So these are some of the things that worked for me. You might find them weird, you might find them hokey and hippie and ridiculous, and I agree with you, because I thought the same thing until I actually tried them, and they have totally worked for me. So something that a lot of people asked me to address in this video and in this speech was personal and self-care. So I'm going to start with that. So for me, some of the things that worked for me for self-care was, even though I really had to push myself, was exercising and going to 30-minute HIIT. I am obsessed with that place. It is such a positive environment, and I would leave there so many times almost in tears because it was such a release of how I was feeling. Like, I just felt so great. Every time I leave 30-minute HIIT, I feel empowered, and getting that exercise and taking care of myself really felt great, and it's not overwhelming at all. Also eating well, which I do maybe like 80% of the time. Of course, we all have our vices, and juicing, and trying to just, for me, it was like, when we realized that Thomas was going to have surgery, I thought, I have to feel my best, because if I'm feeling terrible, I'm going to be not as good of a mom for him. And I'm not going to be as good of an employee and a radio show host if I'm just cramming my body with junk. So that worked for me. Also, something that helps me is to take real pride in how I look. So my appearance. The night before work, I always put out an outfit. And I do very basic makeup, as you can tell, but for me, like a bold lip, having my nails done, really helps me feel better and helps me project that image of a professional woman. If you are someone who's in business, I think it's really important to have that image of being put together. Even if you don't feel it, it honestly helps having like a good outfit or having your hair done or, your brows waxed or whatever. And for me, when I am meeting another businesswoman, I instantly I feel like their appearance is a direct reflection of themselves and their business, and that might be wrong, but that's just, I think, how human nature goes. Something else for me that really helped was keeping that appearance up when I'm out in public, just like doing groceries. Like, you never know who you're going to run into. Could be a prospective client. It could be someone who wants to do business with you. I think that's really important. Also for me, like finding something creative at home. That's why I do YouTube and my website and the social media. I love that. And also having a really clean space. I find if I have a cluttered space, I can't have a clear mind. It might sound bizarre, but it totally works for me. Now, as for goals, this is my vision board, which I did last spring. Many of you have probably seen that video. And this thing works like a hot damn. There's so many things on this vision board that I wanted to achieve, and I have. Like down here, this is like a Broadway show that I went to last summer, and I actually met the man who wrote it, got to go on the stage and meet some of the cast. Like YouTube has become a bigger part of my life, and Facebook and social media has now become my business, as well as like this feel better with less space, with less stuff space. Has helped me a lot. And then like juicing and clean eating and being fit, and then there's like family and that sort of thing up there as well. A vision board for me, I needed it because I felt like I was always busy and I was productive, but I had no focus and I didn't know which way I was going. And so that really helped me. It sounded hokey and I totally avoided it for a really long time, but it has worked for me so well. And on that note, in setting goals, set short-term goals that are very attainable, and then long-term goals, like what you want your business to look like in 5 years, what you want yourself professionally to have achieved in 5 years, and then break it down into achievable, attainable steps. Because I think if you don't, then you can get very discouraged, and it's very easy to just be like, this is never happening. I'm someone who likes to do a to-do list, so stuff that I need to get done instantly and stuff that I need to get done, like in the next month or so. But it's not all about the to-dos, it's about the goals as well. And to separate those two, I think are very important, and that has really helped me achieve things that I think would have just fallen by the wayside. And a to-do list for me is great because then it gets out of my head and I know what I'm supposed to be focusing on. Same with the vision board and same with setting those goals. Now, professionally, I was just talking about how I've launched this business to help people with Facebook and social media and Twitter and YouTube and their blogs. This is gonna sound harsh, but if you are a business professional, do not post your, for lack of a better word, your shit on Facebook. Like complaining about really trivial stuff or always whining, always being negative. No. Put that, even if you have a private page, if you think it's only your friends, make sure it's only your friends, not prospective clients or people who are going to want to do business with you. If you need to vent about your husband or about the snow plows, put it in a private message with your girlfriends, because to me, that is such a turnoff for someone who I am thinking about doing business with. I think it just really reflects poorly. That's why I never put anything like that on Facebook. Of course, I'm texting my friends about it, but the general public isn't seeing it. Of course, also, like, I've been in therapy and I have great friends, and that really helps. This can go both ways. So not complaining about stuff online, I think, is really good. But when you're going through something, if you can find a way to be open about it, that can actually really enhance your brand and your public perception and persona. When I finally went public about Thomas in 2014, and then last year when Jeremy and I went public about how we've both dealt with anxiety and depression, I was not expecting the outpouring of love and support and connection that I got with listeners and just people in town and viewers on my Facebook page and my YouTube. That really expanded things for me in a way that I wasn't expecting. So people can relate, and that might actually set you apart, as terrible as that sounds, but I think you just need to do it in a really professional and classy way. Surround yourself with a good circle of support, like socially and privately. If you need therapy, of course, I'm such a big advocate for that, but also with other professional women. Like, look at women who you admire and talk to them, try and do business with them, make them a client or collaborate with them. I love this saying about, if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. I think it's really important to surround yourself with people who challenge you and inspire you and you can learn from. And that also really helps, I think, if you're going through a tough time privately. If you feel like you are achieving something professionally and you're moving forward, I think that can really help your confidence and just deal with what you're dealing with at home as well. So in closing, I think it's really helpful to talk about things when you're ready to and do them in the right way. Take care of yourself, set goals, attainable ones, and also be very mindful of the professional persona you are projecting in the community. Be kind to yourself. I always like to say in videos, you do you. And also remember, one of my favorite quotes from Amy Poehler is, good for you, not for me. If something's not good for you, but it's good for someone else, that's great, and you don't have to do it. So I hope that some of these tips have helped you, and I hope that no matter what you're going through at home, that you know you're not alone, that you are taking care of yourself, and you're doing what you can to take care of yourself personally so that you can be the best professional and just person that you can be. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.